The story of Father Carlos Crespi and his amazing collection of ancient artefacts is known to few and is shrouded in mystery, due in part to questions surrounding where the artefacts actually came from. Equally as mysterious is how some of the more controversial pieces went missing after his death. Carlos Crespi was born in Italy in 1891 and grew up to study anthropology at the University of Milan, before later studying archaeology in Venice. In 1917, he made the decision to become a priest and was placed in the Ecuadorian city of Cuenca by the Vatican in 1923. There he dedicated the last 59 years of his life spreading the word of the gospel, as well as helping the people in practical ways by establishing orphanages and schools. He also used a basic knowledge of farming and his expertise in anthropology to help the people become a much more self-sufficient and thriving community. In a show of gratitude for his humanitarian work and knowing his love for archaeology, local people began bringing Father Crespi a variety of amazing ancient artifacts. Inscribed metal and gold plates, some apparently displaying unknown languages, were amongst the fascinating items that found their way into a collection that eventually reached an estimated 50,000 individual items. It's worth mentioning that on some occasions locals brought artifacts in exchange for small sums of money or even food. This unfortunately encouraged some to bring objects that were obvious fakes or items of no historical significance whatsoever. Separating the authentic from the worthless, the kind-hearted man received all objects gratefully, regardless of their value. As a result of his growing collection, the Vatican allowed Father Crespi to open a museum. While the collection in itself is particularly incredible, as mentioned before, the sources, origins, and eventual fate of all these artifacts is what truly captures the attention of those who come to know of the Father Crespi mystery. You see, some of the relics seemed out of place. For example, this artifact appears to have originated from ancient Babylonia.
Any archaeologist who has studied the Sumerian, Babylonian,
el faraón, no, ese es el faraón, no, el rey de Babilonia.
This is particularly strange because this ancient civilization existed thousands of years ago in what we now know as Iraq. The same goes for this item, which looks Sumerian. Could this really be one of the sources of Father Crespi's incredible artifacts? If this is the case, how on earth did they find their way to Cuenca, over 8,000 miles away? It's also been speculated that some of the other relics could have been from unknown civilizations which may have existed in areas of the South American continent before it was covered in thick and now endangered rainforests. While this may seem far-fetched, bear in mind that LiDAR has revealed complex structures and even cities beneath the forests which were previously undiscovered, so the possibility of unknown civilizations existing throughout what are now clearly inhospitable areas of thick and deep forest is becoming less and less far-fetched of an idea.
The Amazon basin is 7 million square kilometers in area. And within it, 5.5 million square kilometers remains almost entirely unstudied by archaeologists. And to put that into perspective, 5.5 million square kilometers is the size of the entire Indian subcontinent.
Further extraordinary claims describe how the artifacts could have come from secret rooms, described as metallic libraries found deep within the vast network of caves, starting on the eastern slopes of the Andes Mountains, known as Cueva de los Teos, or Cave of the Oilbirds in English. One of the 3 known entrances to the caves is located in an area where the Shuar natives have lived for an estimated 2,500 years. Some believe that either the tribe were, or still are, guarding secrets of what the cave holds, or even that the secrets are now lost to these natives too. Obviously, when doing a deep dive into any subject online, you definitely need a skeptical yet curious outlook. Some online sources refer to claims that the caves are part of a subterranean complex, that extend through to Venezuela and Chile. However, while researching further information for this video, we were not able to confirm this as fact, and given the distance between these countries, it seems unlikely. Obviously, such stories have to be taken with a pinch of salt, but at the same time we did find examples of other caves, such as Kentucky's Mammoth Cave National Park, which is described as a limestone labyrinth with more than 400 miles of explored area, and has a potential for a further 600 miles in its system yet to be explored. So it's entirely possible that a similar system could exist beneath Ecuador and beyond. Fueling these extraordinary claims is the story of an expedition that apparently took place in 1969. In the 1973 book The Gold of the Gods, Eric von Daniken, who many consider as a pseudo-archaeologist, wrote that explorer Janos Juan Moritz found large quantities of gold, strange sculptural artifacts, and a metallic library during his explorations deep within the Ecuadorian caves. The explorer also described the characteristics of the tunnels as artificial in appearance, stating that he believed that they had been created by a lost civilization with the help of extraterrestrial beings. Claims such as this, of course, are once again to be taken with a pinch of salt. Sadly, it's often that claims of ET intervention lead many people to completely dismiss an entire story, which is understandable to some extent, but the possibility of amazing human accomplishment without ET intervention shouldn't be ruled out. Influenced by Daniken's book, a 1976 deep exploration of the Caves of Taos, involving a team of over 100 people, was arranged by the Scottish engineer and explorer Stan Hall, the same man previously seen in footage with Father Crespi. At the time, it was one of the most expensive and ambitious cave explorations ever put together. The expedition team included 8 experienced cavers from the UK, a film crew, British and Ecuadorian military personnel, and various other individuals with expertise in a number of significant fields. Most notably, amongst the team was the American astronaut Neil Armstrong. Unfortunately, the search yielded no significant findings. However, it's been claimed that the indigenous sources who had originally tipped off Janos Juan Moritz later met with Stan Hall's lead researcher and informed them that they had investigated the wrong cave. Going back to the Father Crespi collection, in 1962 tragedy struck when a fire tore through his museum and destroyed a huge number of the objects held within. Then in 1982, when Father Crespi passed away, some of the surviving artifacts went missing. Multiple theories of their fate have been raised. It's been speculated that the more controversial relics were taken by the Vatican and are now being held within their vast vaults. Other ideas suggest that they might have been stolen and then sold to private collectors. Another possibility is that they may have been reclaimed by the local natives and returned to the secret areas deep within the caves. One thing we do know to be fact, however, is that the Central Bank of Ecuador did purchase some of the remaining items of the Father Crespi collection. This is because in 2016, contributors from the website and organisation Ancient Origins were given permission to examine the objects which were purchased. While they did view thousands of the amazing ancient artefacts such as figurines, ceremonial seats, weapons, stone carvings, ceramics, jewellery, ancient calculation systems, religious icons, and elongated skulls, they were left disappointed to find that the collection contained none of the significant and controversial artifacts, no items depicting hieroglyphs from an unknown civilization, and no golden plates from the metal library. They did question the whereabouts of the plates, and were told that those particular items were nothing but junk, proven to be fakes. When escorted to the items, they confirmed that these particular items were worthless. So does this totally prove that all of the extraordinary details of the Father Crespi story were completely sensationalized and exaggerated? Some may understandably come to that conclusion, but what still remains unanswered is perhaps what will continue to fuel interest in the region and the collection. You see, the whereabouts of the artifacts which Father Crespi was so proudly showing the crew who photographed them during their visit in the 1970s are nowhere to be found. Where are the gold carvings covered in hieroglyphs? And where are the seemingly Sumerian figures seen in the footage? They definitely did exist. Were they lost in the fire, looted and stolen? Or are they currently being held in a secret location due to the information that they hold and the truth that they may reveal? Interestingly, Eileen Hall, the daughter of the explorer Stan Hall, who led the expedition in 1976, has chosen to follow in her father's footsteps and return to the caves. In an interview with the Daily Mail, she said, "I am determined, in my lifetime, to get to the bottom of what my father and Neil Armstrong started all those years ago. I believe the treasure cave exists, and I intend to do all I can to realise my father's dream of finding it." If Eileen Hall is correct, it might only be a matter of years before a huge piece of the Father Crespi puzzle is unlocked. Until that day, or unless new evidence is unearthed, it's likely that both the origins of the strange artefacts and the location of the most interesting of them will remain a mystery.